Kia ora and hello. Welcome to a special episode. Just be one moment. That's better. Many hands make light work. Thank you for joining me on this special episode. Hello to all those on our vertical stream and to all those that have joined us on our horizontal stream. And today we're going to go back in time. We're going to have a look at some of my gameplays in FS22 and how I was inspired by the likes of Mr. Silly P, Daggerwin and even Scroft into basically writing stories as I was playing. And so I hope you find it enjoyable. And I think first we should do is have a look at one of the first maps that I played when the game first came out. Hot Belron, the French map. Now I spent a bit of time on that one. 204 hours. So we'll load that up. And I did a few special things on it. I didn't necessarily have a story. I was still getting to know the gameplay. But I was enjoying it. And I was trying out a few things. And as different things came along, I would revisit the map and add them in. So we'll wait for it to load up. We may be doing a lot of waiting today. And how is everybody today? I hope you're all well and you've been having a good day. The anticipation of waiting for it to load up and to start playing. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Oh, there we go. So these are basically in a state where I left them. Basically when FS25 came out, I haven't really gone back to playing FS22. Even with all the bugs, I just liked the new enhancements with FS25. So 85%. Yep, still loading. I found by the end of the game I had so many mods loading on that it would take forever for it to load. I ended up using a mod manager so that I would load up each map separately and have separate mods for each map. But for this particular stream, I have put all the mods into one great big large folder and hopefully. So here we are on what everyone probably recognizes as one of the first gameplays that they would have loaded up in FS22. And I think we've just crashed. Okay, interesting. Okay, so with this map I put in my own shed and I brought the field across the road and set up a tailor shop and a couple of cow barns, because I actually wanted to initially test whether the brown Swiss or the Holstein gave better milk, because at the very beginning of the game they changed, or they set it up that they were slightly different. They then changed that so that both the breeds of milk cows gave about the same quantity of milk. So as the game progressed and we got other mods, I've actually installed the pasture mod, so that the cows were able to eat the grass and produce the milk. And I was able to do that. I think we had the pens without fences, so we were able to set that up, and so they're actually in a bigger paddock than they would have normally have been, which, you know, we can sort of do now in FS22, which is good. So we set it up here. We've got the automatic feeders. So there's no real storyline here. It was just more just, you know, testing gameplay, getting to know how things worked, and upgrading it as the game matured and we got better mods for it. So I created a bit of a greenhouse area down here. Tried a bit of landscaping. And put in a decent sized slurry tank as well. Now I quite often would cart slurry to the biogas, and we would do that. As you can see, I've just left equipment around. Not necessarily the tidiest farmer. Now I put that storage in there, and down here we've got sheep, once again with the grazing mod and paddock mod. That was an amazing mod for FS22. And we've got pigs down here as well. And once again, you know, fenceless husbandry, so fenced it off, and yeah, we put our own fence in, which I would like to be able to do in FS22. I don't like the fences that come with the cow paddocks default from Giants. I want to have gates in them, you know, let the animals out if I want to. But yeah, so that's sort of what we've got here. I've got a lot of the little production, which we'll have a look at later. We've got chickens up here, once again with a custom paddock. And you know, we've got all the big equipment, big slurry spreader, good selection of tractors. Of course, that was one of the tractors that we had on the farm right from the start, so still got that one. Animal care stuff, and of course precision farming, which, you know, we will be getting again, so Really looking forward to that. So I set up sort of a wash bay in here. So much easier now. Excuse me. So much easier now that we can, you know, go up to the water blaster, jump in it and walk it around. Yeah, we can maneuver it a lot better. That one took a little bit of placing. So and of course we've got the snowmobile there for the silage. Slight bit of overkill, but you know, that's the way it is. And then we've got little bits of productions here, you know, the ice cream and is that soybean water, the lettuces and all that, salad, and of course the sell point there. So yeah, this was sort of like a little bit of a parking area so people could stop off and you know, shop and just buy stuff, go into the tailors and get their goods. And the farm, you know, basically I brought all the fields here and found I needed to have 2 of the hay sheds. So I basically, you know, put 2 side by side, and I can run through. And one would be for hay and the other for straw. And if we come over here and, you know, you look at the water, yeah, the reflections. Giants always did a good job with their reflections, but the reflections are pretty bare compared to what we get. Hello, rocket scientist. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back to FS22. And yeah, we're just having a look around Hort Belron. And yeah, it's sort of some of the things that have changed. You know, definitely no water movement if you jump in the water. And yeah, when you look at the reflections, yeah, you'd see the rocks and the trees, but you're not seeing the bushes. So the water is just so much better in FS25. But looking around here, we'll go and look at one of the first things that I did try and I have incorporated into other maps, including FS22. Let's get a bird's eye view. And there we go. I built a maze in that little square of land there, just for something to do, right next to the cow paddock there, because at the time I couldn't extend the cow paddock into the square, so it just made sense. So I think originally this was a field, so I basically changed it into a farm area and basically just created an animal production area here. I was getting to the stage where I had so much milk the factory couldn't cope, and I was having to sell milk at the farmers market. Oh, that's a good question, Rocket. I I'm not too sure. You could try a host file pointing at itself, maybe. Yeah, I'd have to have a look, see what it's trying to talk to. Yeah, I'm not too sure. We'd have to have a look at what server it's trying to talk to, and then convince it that that server is on the computer. Maybe I'm not too sure if it would work. So yeah, I couldn't give you a definitive answer off the top of my head there, mate. So we got another production here. That was an oils production. I did like these productions, and you know, I like to add them into the map a bit later on. So if we come onto the map, which of course is in a different location in this menu, now that I'm used to the new menu. If we pop over here, this was a farmer's market that I landscaped in, put it next to the gas station, and I put that in because we didn't actually have a milk sell point, so this provided a milk sell point on the map. And if we run along the road here, and we come to the sawmill, and this was something I tried out, a little bit of agroforestry. Alright, we get to see the train. So basically I planted these with the GPS mod, and they were basically wide enough that I could get a mower down here in one go. And basically it was just a forestry that you could make hay around. Now in real life, of course, the grass isn't going to grow that well under the trees, but in FS22 and FS25 it doesn't really matter whether it's in the shade or not, it still grows. So it was a good way to, you know, have quite a few trees. Got more than enough trees to keep the lumber mill going, and you know, it can make quite a bit of hay here. It was just wide enough so that we could put a big hay rake down, and then basically I gave up by the time I got to here because I had so many trees. So that was something I tried out that was a little bit different. So other than that, the map was fairly standard. I'll have a look at the village. I did like the village. I thought it was, you know, a nice little French village. It was a nice map, and you know, if we get this back in FS22 as one of the special maps, I won't be complaining. It's not a bad map. Climbing up here on a motorbike was fun. And of course we've got yeah, the castle. Which was a nice addition. If we can find our way. I'm a bit rusty here. You got a nice view of the area from up here, so I actually enjoyed this map and did spend a lot of time on it, and did quite a few revisits with the newer mods and updated different things. So yeah, I think it had a lot of long-term playability, this one. And yeah, I think both maps in FS25 are similar. So what's interesting here is I actually put some trees in, and the reflection in the water was only for existing trees. However, in FS25 you put something new in and it gets reflected in the water, which I think is, you know, pretty amazing. The changes in the water for FS25 are just amazing. So that's basically the first map that I spent some time on. So we'll move on to the next map. And I think the next one would have to be Griffin, Indiana. I spent 364 hours on that one. And that was the one where I actually ended up having a story to go with it. So we'll wait for it to load up, and so this map really lent itself to developing sort of like a start from scratch storyline. It was really made for that, and it was so easy to come up with a storyline. And yeah, that's what's great about Farming Simulator. Two people can play exactly the same map and it's going to be completely different. Yeah, like with me with Haute Baron, how many people would have had trees growing and just wide enough to send a mower down, have cow barns in the other paddock? You know, it becomes your map and how you want it to be. And I think that's what gives, yeah, along with the mods, that's what gives longevity to the game, is your imagination. It's not really limited. You're not limited to a storyline developed by a script writer in Giants. You know, you can do whatever you like with the map. It's a complete sandbox that you can set up the way you want. Okay, so let's Where do we want to go? We want to go down here. I'll probably jump into here, because you can't just click on a field and jump to the field. So like I say, these are basically maps that I basically left in full game mode. So I think from memory, when you first loaded the map, this is where you were looking towards. So you sort of like, you've come off the expressway. It's an off-ramp there in real life. I have viewed this area in Google Earth, and it does look yeah, it might be hard-coded in that it has to talk to the server if it's up, if you're playing online. I'm not sure. So welcome to Griffin, Indiana. So when I first came here, I stopped off at Uncle Pete's Excellent Diner and talked to the locals, and they told me about the motel here. And so I went and talked to the bank after I think I'd done my first contract job and had some money. So spent a bit of time over here at the workshop. So did a few contracts for farmers, as the story went. And then the first saved up enough money, brought a bicycle to travel around the place, saved up some money, and the first bit of land I brought was just in here, where I put some hydroponic greenhouses. And I made some extra cash with the lettuces, and I was able to save up and buy an old truck. I then continued saving my money, and oh, that's good news, mate. I hope so. So I saved up some money and brought a bit of land here and set up an agri-contracting business. So I ended up having a lot of equipment here, and later on I did up my first truck because it was something special, you know, it got me going. And I did up my first bike, my first means of transport around the area. And then I put them pride of place inside the building here. Now I also used this as sort of like a sleep area to begin with, so that I had somewhere to stay, but that was before. So I moved out of the hotel or the motel, and I actually had a caravan up here that I stayed in for a little while. And this is where I lived. I think it was in this patch here I had a caravan parked up. But of course sold it since then, because the motel was just too expensive, obviously. So sorry for jumping around the place, but just trying to keep it moving. So yeah, we had our sleep bench, and that's where we would do our sleeping, simulate being inside here, because I couldn't put a doormat or anything like that in there. So also along here, I put in a big chicken pen. And because I'm a kind-hearted soul, I like the chickens to be able to roam outside, so I did that by grabbing, you know, an outside field and fenceless pasture again, and putting that in, and then I would have chickens out here and chickens in there. And so it looks like they've, you know, they're free range, they can go in between inside and outside. Awesome, mate. Nothing like that feeling when you get it fixed, eh? You solve that problem. I've also put sheep in here, and so made use of this whole bit of land. And I think that was a hay dryer from memory. And then later on, as I saved a bit more money, I purchased this corner section here and built the house and garage. Yeah, awesome mod, this one. I liked it a lot. And you know, being inside the house, it's fantastic. So one thing I do miss from FS25 is actually paintable flowers. You can sort of see here how I used the hedges and all that to hide to blend how the paving stones would blend into the dirt. And then I put in a whole heap of flowers there just to reduce the amount of mowing I'd have to do. But I do miss not having those flowers in FS, paintable flowers in FS22, because they did come in handy. I did a whole border garden basically just to make it all look nice. And that's what I liked about the game. It wasn't just solely farming. You could create a story. Hello Yasmin, welcome to the stream. How are you today? Hope you've been having a good day. We're just having a look at some of my older gameplays in FS22. And some of the stories that were running through my head. Hey Nacho, how are you today? We're in FS22, so just looking at Griffin, Indiana at the moment. So I've got a bit of a collection here. The old the Honda CB, the Willys Jeep, the Mustang, got to have the Mustang. Ford all the way, and a hot rod. That's an insane vehicle. So yeah, just saying, brought a land, had some greenhouses in, and then brought this section here and put in a contracting business. And as I saved up money, I moved from sleeping in a motel to sleeping in a caravan out in the holiday park, and then to sleeping in the contracting business here. And you know, basically like the offices there were set up as accommodation area. And then later on, I don't know, the story may have got along that I decided to get, you know, a girlfriend or something like that, and she wasn't happy sleeping inside the contracting yard, so had to build her house, complete with garden. How does that sound for a story? So we went from there, and as you know, mods dropped and all that, we did more and more. I utilized this area here to grow ornament trees. That was a mod that came available. Yeah, it was a good place to be able to get rid of the manure. But it's an awesome map there. And then up here, the next section I brought was basically this place up here. And I put in a log cabin overlooking the lake. And you look there at the water, no real reflections reflecting the trees. You know, this would look awesome in FS25, especially with the autumn colouring on the trees. But I set this up as sort of like a holiday home, and set up 4 different fields in this one field. And to emulate the holiday home, I used one of those money producing signs, and just put it backwards so no one could see it was what it was. And then later on, after I'd done a few harvests on this field, I was able to buy the farm up here. And I fenced all this off, created a driveway so they could get to the house without having to go through the actual farmyard. Health and safety and all that sort of thing. And so I brought this house and farm. And yeah, like I say, you know, every gameplay for everyone is going to be slightly different. You know, no two maps are ever going to be the same, and is what I like about this game. And this map was just so great for developing a storyline. So I set up here a horse trekking business. Now, I really did enjoy this map. I spent a lot of time on it. We won't go near the edges. Edges were not that great. And here is probably one of the first tractor museums I set up with the older tractors. We got the John Deere there, the Farmall. There were some really nice old tractors that came out. The Porsche a Zeta, and the other farm all there. So that's what I set up here, and yeah, I set up the horse stables here with the idea that you could trek through the woods here. It was an all-purpose trail, so it was a perfect location for it. People could come out and do some horse trekking, and look at some old tractors. So that was my first attempt at a tractor museum. And so basically I'd done all that. And we've got to go and visit so the buildings on the map are awesome. The municipal building there. The church, and they had a school as well. And yeah, I think imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Giants put a school in Hutem Pantai, so they obviously thought it was a good idea. It adds life, it adds realism. Of course, we've got the baseball diamond here. There are even, I think, along here. Yep, there we go. Oil pump. So it was a nice map, this one. I did enjoy this one and spent a lot of time on it. Really had a good storyline going through my head on this one. And you can see where I've done so much just to move the storyline along. But of course new maps came out and I moved on. So we'll move on to the next map. I'm not sure what order I played these in, but Mato Piba, I probably didn't pronounce that very well, was a Brazilian map that I tried. And this one I actually had a lot of fun using courseplay on. So we'll just wait for it to load up. Always takes a long time when you've got a lot of mods installed. So with this map, I wasn't necessarily happy with the starting farm or any of the other farms. So I brought a patch of blank land in the top corner. And basically set up a farm on there, a huge field, which I'd grow cotton in. And sort of the story behind this one was, I know that there were a few German immigrants went to South America. I'm not sure how many actually moved to Brazil, but you know, a little bit of poetic license maybe. So Oma Tama had just released her Bavarian House. And so I wanted to incorporate that into the game because I liked it. It was one that you could walk into. So the story was that there was a German immigrant that had purchased this land and was building up the farm. And so they built this Bavarian house just to remind them of home. And I think that's sort of key, is if you do something, have a reason for it. So we have there Oma Tama's house. You can see there how I've used the flowers again around the edges. Yeah, a big centerpiece there. You probably have an idea what all those hedges are all about. Yeah, the old frame rate's taking a pounding. But as you can see there, I've got I made another maze. I seem to like doing mazes and, you know, just having fun. Just doing things a little bit different. Oh, sorry for the lagginess, man. So if we go into build mode again, we can have a bird's eye view of the maze. So here we go. So I basically built it right on the edge of the cliff, looking, you know, and going down into the chasm. So yeah, that was a fun build, that one. Now if we fly around here, we can see where I set up, you know, it's sort of another long driveway in, but yeah, that was quite neat. And like I say, you know, I got this land and basically set it up for myself. I just loved the view when you get to the edges and looking out. You see the road winding down there. I just liked this location. And the sheer drop into the valley there. That was a nice location. So it's a really long driveway here. So we might just if the frame rate will let me. Oh, that's right, I had the maintenance mod here, so you didn't want to drive with a cold engine. So I set up quite a large olive grove. And you drive through the olive grove to get to the house. So as you can see, I had a lot of olives. And I was playing with courseplay, so, you know, I'd have a couple of olive pickers running along, and, you know, I'd have a couple of different implements all working on the olives at the same time. and I had a large field of sunflower. We'll pull up the map and you can sort of see. So I sort of brought this whole area here, which was basically just I can't remember. Here we go. I think it's farmland. So when I initially brought that, that was just basically like 43 there, just a blank field. And so I was able to basically do whatever I wanted to with this, and you know, produce a great big field. You can see that was a huge field there, and I actually played around with course play, had 3 harvesters all going at the same time. Sunflowers are in there, and of course lots of beehives around there, so we could improve the yield. That's one thing I noticed when I came back to FS22 was the stutters. I definitely don't get the same sort of stutters in FS25. So of course got the big harvesters there, and the cotton field. So I really had a lot of fun with the courseplay on this one, and setting up multiple machines to do, you know, to work on the fields. After you'd harvest them, you'd have to mulch them, so I'd have 2 or 3 machines mulching, 2 or 3 machines planting, had some big planters. So this down here was the farm area that I set up, and I also basically set up an industrial area. And I had planned to actually buy the field next there and create a little township to support the industrial area, but didn't quite get around to that. So we've got big cedars, everything was big in here. Multiple sprayers, multiple mulchers. And a big shed there that I would store the harvesters in. Of course they're out in the field at the moment harvesting, so the shed's empty. Definitely having a lot of frame rate issue on this. So lots of equipment, case, Kubota. This Merlot had just become available as well, so I used that one. Four rollers, had the machines going, and basically I was producing so much cotton that I had to have multiple weavers to produce into cloth, and then multiple tailors to make clothes. As you can see, I was making a lot of stuff. And then I had the oil factories there. And I was making a lot of stuff. So yeah, I basically put two factories really close together to make it look like one factory. And was obviously keeping a lot of the locals employed. Not bad for a penniless German immigrant. I even played around with the big Aussie walkabout mother bin. It was just that kind of map. I think we even put in a lime production. As you can see, basically we're part way through harvesting the field. So that's what we did on this map. Like I said, I wasn't really happy with the default farms or anything like that. Wanted to do something my own. And so that's what we did. Big fields in this map. Really big fields. And I think there was even a... Let's see if we can visit this one. Yeah, there's even a quarry in this map. So, yeah, it was a neat map, this one. Not necessarily great with the edges again, but, you know, that's sort of the way it is. Let's have a look at the edge and just remind ourselves what they were like. Yep, heading in the right direction. So actually not too bad. I'm quite impressed, to be honest. I'd forgotten that it was like this. So that road carries on. We've got trees into the distance. So yeah, I think that's passable. So that's what we did on that map. And then the next one was Court Farms. 242 hours. So I did spend more time in Griffin, Indiana. But still spent a bit of time. Addington Park I spent a bit of time too as well. But I didn't do a lot of extra building there. So... but with Court Farms I did a little bit. So we'll go into Court Farms. I'm really looking forward. Hopefully this map will come out in FS22. And I hope he doesn't have to change the name of it. But there's sort of like a public farm that they want people to visit. they probably think it's a good thing for them. Unlike Calmston Farm, which is, you know, a private farm. They're not a public farm. So we're just waiting for it to load up. So this was an awesome map from Oxygen David. Very much so, it was a map that you had to play with what you got because you couldn't remove the buildings at all. Unless you had a Giants editor, and I don't do the Giants editor thing. So everything I've done is all been with the default landscaping tools and painting tools and placement tools. So yeah, so yeah, it was a bit tricky to put your own mark on this map, but I think I managed to do it. So near the end of FS22, I was definitely getting to the stage where I needed to use a mod manager, and as I wanted to play a map, I would have a special folder for that map that I would load up, and I would put the mods in. And it was also great for testing those maps that insist on you installing, you know, 400 additional mods before you can play the map. I know I'm exaggerating, but sometimes that's what it feels like. Especially near the end of FS22, some of those maps were getting ridiculous with the number of required mods. And you know, most of them, yes, they were okay in that map, but they weren't mods that you were going to use anywhere else. So you didn't really want all those mods in your mod folder clogging things up. So it was great just to set up a folder and say, yep, install all those mods in that folder, and if I don't like it, I'll just delete the folder. So it made it a bit easier to do that. FSG modding does the mod map. I can put a link. He's done it for FS25 as well. It works on FS25. If you like, I can put a link in the Discord to point to it when I find it again. But I haven't used the mod manager as much in FS25 yet, but I'm probably getting to the stage where I probably need to. We're getting a few extra maps. Okay, I think we've got a mod conflict there. So I'll just restart FS22 again. Okay, so I've got the loading screen now. How's your day been, Nacho? A rocket scientist? Hope that it's been going well. Remember this.
A wise man once said, to forget how to dig the soil, tend the earth.
Hope I don't get a copyright strike for this.
Well, maybe some have, but a few of us still know. You gotta be willing to put in the time, make the sacrifices, and the hard choices. The job's got its perks, don't get me wrong. The sweet smell of the morning dew, the way the warm sun and the cool breeze can dance across your skin. But don't think it's a game. The farm's got a way of sorting the wheat from the chaff. Just remember to keep your wits about you. You fall, you get back up again. Because this is more than just a job. It's a calling. Who else would choose to wake up early in the morning, tear up their hands working in the fields all day, and then spend the evening planning how they're going to do it all over again, better, tomorrow? Day after day. Season after season. Year after year. That's a calling that's never ending. It stretches far forward and back from us as long as farmers have been tending this earth. And farmers will be around as long as such a thing exists. Tomorrow is secured by those willing to dirty their hands today. So when you feel alone out there in the field, just remember, you're not. Think about all those that have come before you. And all those that'll follow. Plant today. Harvest tomorrow.
Okay, sorry about that, just had to play that. So let's see if we can load that Court Farms again. Just wondering what mod was causing the problem. Just picking out some of the script mods that might have been causing the conflict. Conservation agriculture was actually a good mod. As you can see, I've got a lot of mods. Just unselecting the mod, so I don't think I need for this, so... Yeah. Okay, we'll try again. It's always annoying when you get a mod conflict and the game crashes, because it can be really difficult to find the mod that's causing the problem. I usually start by deselecting, you know, sort of 3 letters of the alphabet and working through that way. And then if the game starts, then tracking it down to which mod in that group is actually causing the problem. File async finished. Course play. Okay. Must be a new command that they put in for FS22. Yeah, so it looks like something's gone wrong with course play on this, so I won't force you to watch the whole video again. Okay, let's see if we can get rid of auto drive. We had a lot of mods in FS22. Okay, let's see if it works this time. I hope it does, because I'd like to show you some of the stuff that I did on it. So hopefully we get past 85%. Okay, we'll go. Okay, so here we are with a nod towards Scroff's farmhand game. We've got George looking at us. Yeah, of course. Yeah, not great frame rate here. But it was neat having a house that you could walk into and, you know, you could do stuff with. I think we all know that kitchen from the farmhand series. Table looks a little bit different now, but you know. Of course, we set up the pigs in there. So it was basically just a fattening unit to fatten up pigs so they could then go on to, you know, people that'll give them nice homes. And we had Land Rovers. It looks like for some reason I'm auto going into the vehicles, so not too sure what's happening there. Okay. And we have a man truck that has the steering wheel on the correct side. I really hope they bring this out again. Black Sheep Modding did this one. It was very late in the FS22 cycle. So, yeah, I really hope. Now, this was something I set up just by the windmill. So, basically it was a cafe that produced a whole lot of different things. So I set that up by the windmill like a sort of a touristy thing. Put in a playground for the kids. And also put in one of those small productions. I did like those small productions. And also set up, now that was a factory where you delivered wool and it produced garments. So it didn't produce fabric, it produced clothing. So it sort of skipped that middle step quite nicely. And that windmill is awesome. And I set up some more greenhouses in here. And I brought this farm, which was right next to Court Farms, as like a secondary. Oh, this actually became the main dairy unit. And I had, you know, maize silage, grass silage, and that sort of thing. Another Land Rover, of course, older series. And of course here, Scroft had his first house that he rented from George, and that one there. So I set this up as the main dairy unit, producing the milk, and set up sort of like the crop rotation for the fields. So I had quite a few fields right along. If I pull up the map and hit the farmland, you can see that I had brought a whole heap of fields. That really kept me busy. That guy there just held out, wouldn't sell one little pocket of land at all. I'm only joking, I didn't actually want the land, it was too small. But yeah, so this was the main dairy unit. And basically I built a road along here, along the fence line here, to link the two. Oh, someone's a bit messy, left a bale in the way. So use this to link the two farms together. And what I'd do is I would transfer the calves from the main dairy unit there into the Court Farm calving unit. And because it got tricky juggling all the different animals, I ended up going into here and putting in a sort of like a small holding pen. Got a bull in there. Don't worry, he's friendly. He's a docile chap. Yeah, okay. So I put that basically as a holding pen that I'd move the animals into until I could sell them. So yeah, that was, yeah. It's not going to let me jump over. So the animal grazing mod was an awesome mod, and the enhanced animal mod with the bulls and all that sort of thing, the male animals was really good. So yeah, was able to set things up there. Got our horses. Chickens, of course. And this is our calving unit here. And of course, with the enhanced animal mod, we had baby animals. Something that was not default in FS22. So basically, as soon as they got to milking stage, they'd be transferred to the milking unit, and the older cows would be sold off to people that would give them a nice home. And of course, we've got the sheds here. The old Ford tractor, Massey, bit of class. And one thing I'd set up here too, place to sell my milk. And while they're buying the milk, they could have a look at a small tractor museum. Another one. that I set up. It's got, you know, sort of a far more old Land Rover, small McCormick, the old Massey Ferguson 35. I really hope we get that in FS25. John Deere, yeah, and a couple of other Masseys. So I hope we can get those again in FS25. It would be neat. So yeah, that's what we set up there. Little museum. So that's basically what we did on Court Farms. Lots of beehives around, lots of activity, as you can see. Lots of fields, and basically I'd alternate between crop rotations, so these would be moved into these fields, and they're all about the same amount of acreage or hectares. Hello, Stephen Collins. Welcome to the stream. How are you today? We're back on FS22 at the moment, just having a look at some of my old maps. Just hopped on to Court Farms and looked at some of the things I did there, set up a museum and that sort of thing. So, yeah, just looking at some of the stories I was doing while I was playing the game before I started streaming and could tell my stories to the world. So that's Court Farms. Oh, that's right. There's always this one. So how many times have we had to restart FS22 today? I think this is about the 4th or 5th time. It's funny how you forget the little quirks that FS22 had. So after Court Farms, the next one I actually spent a lot of time on, and it really surprised me because when they first announced it, I was saying, okay. Restart count as 5. Thanks, mate. Yep, I'm good, mate. I hope you're doing well as well. So when they announced Zelonka, I was thinking, okay, Eastern European map. I wasn't really into the Eastern European map that they had in FS17. I didn't actually play it. It was too third worldy for me, and yeah, I just didn't like it. So I wasn't 100% sold on Zelonka. But I thought I'd give it a go and, you know, give the carrots a go. And I ended up spending 463 hours on this map. Basically, I was playing it virtually right to the end. Palanay sort of came in just before FS25 dropped. So I did migrate to that one a little bit, but I was basically playing this right up until the end, and I suffered the harvesting of carrots with a single row harvester. That was painful. Oh, cool. 8 a.m. Yeah, I'll probably have to be at work by then too, unfortunately. The real job. So I ended up spending a lot of time on Sri Lanka and really enjoyed it. It was a map that really surprised me. Oh no, it's 2 a.m. You're somewhere in the Americas, are you? Yeah, I know it's not a great time. Thank you for joining. I do appreciate. I hope you've managed to have some sleep or something, or... Wisconsin. Yeah, big farming area around there, isn't it? If I recall my geography correctly. Oh, awesome, mate. Yeah. I'll be honest, I didn't actually download many mods for FS17 because FS17 was the first game I played and it had been drummed into me mods will break the game, and I didn't actually realize that Giants was really behind the modding community and we're really supporting it. So I was reluctant to install mods for quite a while. Okay, let's speed up time a bit so we get a bit of daylight. So basically we're in winter time. So on this map here, I grew a lot of vegetables. And I'll admit I cheated. I was using the colossal harvester at the end to harvest all the vegetables because it was just too painful. Oh, going into that. Don't recall installing this mod. Oh, awesome. And what do you farm on the farm? Or grow, or, you know? So we've got the chickens there, and I built a shed. Put in some glass houses, and I grew a lot of potatoes. A lot of potatoes in these gardens. Kept a whole potato factory going. And I for some reason thought that having longer fields would be great for vegetables and carrots, because you'd just set the machine up and it would go for quite a distance without having to turn. It was still painful though. So I ended up installing a mod which was really good, that if you grew a cover crop, it actually stopped the weeds from growing, and you could determine how much value of fertilizer they produced depending on how you ploughed them in. So I planted a whole heap of trees around. We're getting the old stutters again. I've put in a storage shed there. But the big thing is I put in here a windmill and a whole heap of potato gardens again. Also I kept the chip factory working. Oh nice, raspberries and blueberries. My daughter loves blueberries. And yeah, strawberries are neat too. I actually spent a summer working on a strawberry farm when I was a very young fella. So yeah, so basically I set up a production point for pellets. So we had the, you know, this hay and straw pellets, and so I set up the factory for that, and put them into storage here. I'm not sure if we've got any in storage. Oh yep, there we go. Whole heap in there, ready to sell. I think I'm waiting for January. It's the best time to sell. So I'd spend a lot of time using the special pellet production machine. So it'd be interesting to see if we can get that again for FS22. And a fair bit of equipment in here. So one thing that really amazed me was I came down to about this location in FS22, in Zelonka in FS22, and as you can see there's no reflections in the water here at all. In FS22 everything was reflected in the water. The cars and the pedestrians that went across the bridge were all reflected in the water. And what really blew me away was there was a stork flying across, and when you looked in the water, the stork was reflected in the water. Giants has just done so much for the water. Yeah, it's just incredible. And now, yeah, they've got the Silver Run flowing water in there as well. That's awesome. I was a little bit disappointed this map didn't have that Silver Run flowing water. So now here, I couldn't help myself, but I had to buy old tractors again and set up another tractor museum. Couldn't help myself. So yeah, got the Massey Ferguson there, old John Deere, Hurleman, a Farmall, drop nose Ford. The Massey. I really hope we can get that again. And a flathead V8 Ford tractor. Now that is actually a real thing. I actually saw it on YouTube. So yeah, I thought that was quite neat. Another Massey International McCormick. Another Farmall. The old Fiat, the Zeta, and of course the Zeta Crystal, which is one of the main tractors that we started off with on this map. So I couldn't help myself, had to set up the old tractor museum. And by the end of FS22 we're getting a lot of these old tractors. A lot of them were in Mod Hub, but a lot of them were in the other third-party sites. But I was careful to try and make sure that I was getting them from sites that were reputable and were the original authors' sites. So I had this big grass field here that I was using for the hay and pellet production, and I'd get multiple loads of hay off there, and then of course the other fields where I was getting the straw, I was doing the straw pellets as well. So I really liked that that DLC. Don't think it was really a mod. So I planted a whole heap of trees around here. As you can see, they've sort of all matured. So yeah, that just screams for flowing water, doesn't it? But yeah, planted a whole lot of trees along the road line. Only 6.8 GB, man. I think my FS22, hang on, I can actually tell you the current FS22 size. Actually, currently with all the mods, and I don't have all the mods installed for FS25. I've got 11.8 gigabyte of mods installed for FS25. Let's see if I can find it for FS22, all mods. I've got 33.6 gigabytes of mods installed for FS22. So you can probably understand why I got a little bit titchy about being forced to install extra mods just to play a map. Yeah, sorry, Stephen. Haven't been keeping an eye on the chat. I'm from New Zealand, hence the name Kiwi. The kiwi is a very popular bird here in New Zealand, so I know most of the world think of the fruit as kiwis, but the fruit is actually named after the kiwi because it looks like the kiwi bird with the brown sort of feathers. So yeah, set up lime production here. And the other thing I did that, I got used to viewing was I actually purchased a plot of land over there. You can sort of see it there. Quite early on in the piece. And I installed the forestry there. So I could have sort of like sustainable, as I cut trees down, I planted new ones. And it was surprising how bare FS22's Lonka was without the trees there. You just got used to seeing them. So yeah, planted a whole heap of different trees in here and created a bit of a forestry going. And if we come along here, I can't remember. I always thought they had 3D interiors, but maybe they didn't. I think my favourite map for FS17 had to be Mercury Farms. So I spent a lot of time here dropping off and picking up, as you can see. A lot of preserved carrots and parsnips and all that sort of thing. And then along here, I set up a large sheep pen. So during the summertime, the sheep would be out in the field. So I'd have the field set up here. I had the watering mod to keep them watered. Got a whole heap there to move. But in the winter time, I would actually move them into this large sheep pen and feed them with hay because, yeah, we don't want them out in the snow. Want them to be kept nice and warm. So that's what I did here. And then down the other end of town, I probably won't walk through it. And I was surprised that we couldn't buy this dairy, but yeah, that's the way it was. So down this end, I did something similar with cows. So I set up cows in the field here and used the pasture mod and that sort of thing. and then in the winter time all right, I'll have to check that. Yeah, I don't recall that. It's funny how you forget about things. So I set this up basically as, you know, role play, moving the cows from the field and into the cow barn. And so this is where they are in the winter time, all being nicely looked after and fed. Once again, it was just thanks to the modders, you know, and doing that. We had a big sheep pen like that, and a big cow pen that we could do this with. And of course, I brought the pack that included this, which produced liquid fertilizer from the cow methane, basically. This is a real unit. It was, I'll be honest, it was the only decent thing in that pack, to be honest with you. The sheds, in my mind, were extremely disappointing. Yeah, when a modder does it for nothing and, you know, puts it out there, you can forgive their missing things, like having an interior door that doesn't go anywhere, and when you look on the outside there's no door, it's only on the inside. Yeah, you can look at little things like that, and I'll be honest, most modders don't do that sort of thing. And this was a paid for third-party pack. And, you know, I think when you're paying for a pack, you're allowed to be quite judgmental. If you're paying money for it, then, you know, I think you have the right to expect things to look right. And, you know, if there's a door in a building, there should be a door on the outside as well. It's basic stuff. Like I say, if you're getting the mod for nothing, that's okay. You know, it's sort of like, people make mistakes. But if you want people to pay for that mod, don't make mistakes. Get it right. I did not appreciate that mod. Well, that whole DLC. That was the only decent thing. That's the only reason why I brought it. And I'm not sure it was worth it, to be honest. So I actually ended up spending a lot of time on this map. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed setting up the animals, because it wasn't a map that was really set up for animals. So I was quite chuffed at being able to set up animals without taking over a whole heap of land. So everything that I built was not on arable land, so I didn't take over any arable land. So that's sort of, yeah, where we are. Yeah, I think, where was it? Just along here. If we run along here, unfortunately there won't be any water here because we haven't had any rain. But this was the area where it would flood. Oh no, there is water. There we go. But there's just no water physics. you know, when you walk along, there's just no water movement. When the tractors run through it, there's just no water movement. And the water in FS25 is just so much better. With the water splashes and that sort of thing. It's such a huge improvement. So I spent a lot of time in FS22. I enjoyed it. But when FS25 came out, once I started playing FS25, I never really went back to FS22. In fact, the first time I really jumped back into FS22 was about a week ago when we first came up with the idea of doing this stream. I just wanted to double check that everything was still working, and hey, we found out that no, not everything was working. We still had quite a few restarts. So everything in FS25 wasn't always rosy. You know, you see the little micro stutters. I just could not get rid of those no matter what I tried. And that, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. I set up a purchasing wholesale market there to sell a lot of stuff. And so I did that, decorated it with a few trucks and all that, and set up some greenhouses here as well. And had one of those portable sell points. So yeah, nearly forgot about that. So I had a lot of fun on this map, way more than I expected to. It was just a really good map. Got some storage in here. It really did surprise me how much time I spent on this map. But I think it was because of the mods. Yeah, I probably would have given up on the vegetables if the Colossal Harvester hadn't come out. And, you know, we were sort of able to cheat harvesting. Big, wide harvest swaths going at about 90 mile an hour. And with about a million litre capacity. But I really enjoyed doing the hay and straw pallets. I just enjoyed the grass work and really did spend a lot of time in this. So I think that's probably about it. The water reflections in FS25 now are just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, let's have a look at the farmland. You can see there I've got a huge swath of land there. Quite a bit to keep me going. And that was where I decided to plant my forestry. It was a bit of blank land, so no arable land was used up there. No arable land was used up there. It was bare land. And same with that one. No arable land was used up. So yeah, I had a lot of fun on this map. But I think Griffin, Indiana was my main one. That's where I really had a really good storyline going, where I really started. It was probably one of the first ones where I did a start from scratch and actually had no money right from the start, so had to do a contract in order to be able to make money to even afford a bike. And then I emulated, you know, money going out to pay for the motel, hence the reason why I needed to move into a caravan. And you know, and that sort of thing, and I kept taking money out until such times as I'd built the contractor area. and then, you know, I was able to stay there without having to spend money. So I had a lot of fun on that map. I've had a lot of fun in FS25. If I look on Steam, I clocked up 6,026 hours in FS22. It's actually quite scary. If I dedicated that much time to world peace, I might have achieved it. Who knows? I doubt it. I'm not sure people want world peace. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. It's been fun to reminisce and look at some of my old maps, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them come out in FS25 if they do. I'll definitely be playing those again. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, we've got Palanay again, and that looks good. I was actually looking there where these are. These were games that I use a mod manager for, and I actually can't remember these ones. I don't even know what Lady Hill was. Old Stream Farm. Yeah, that was a good one. And the Valley, the Old Farm. But yeah, I can't remember. Somewhere in Thuring. May have to look it up on Mod Hub and see what it was. Western Wilds, that was definitely one of the ones where I first played around with courseplay and multiple machines on a field. I'd set up, because that was basically, yeah, you just brought pockets of land, like No Man's Land, but with a bit more stuff around. I was able to really create some big fields and have multiple ones. Attingham Park, that was a pretty map. And the Frühling one, I quite enjoyed that one for a little map. Spent a bit of time on that one. Erlengrat, Elm Creek, of course. And there was another Elm Creek one there. That's right. I set up a let's just pop into here. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'll admit it's been fun for me to just go back over what I had achieved in the 6,000 hours that I spent on this game. Although I think my father would say I wasted my time on it, but yeah, we won't go back. It was sort of discussions we had back in the 80s. I find computer gaming, and especially farm simming, to be a great way to de-stress at the end of the day. Yeah, jump in a tractor and mow some grass, or just build your own little world. And like I said before, that's what's really great about the Farm Simulator franchise. They're not forcing you into a story. I know some people want stories, and I don't really want stories. I don't want to have to follow a set plot line written by someone. I like the idea of being able to write my own story, tell my own story. And now that I'm streaming, I'm able to do that probably a lot better than before. You know, before I was just telling my own story to myself. So in Elm Creek, I created a new map where I set up a winery, or sorry, grape juice factory, not a winery. Let's keep it PG. And I set up a vineyard. Put in a restaurant. And we sort of had we had the factory buildings come out, and they were really awesome. You put in a whole heap of goods, and a whole heap of goods would come out of it. And of course we've got the garden and that, and looks like one of the mods hasn't been loaded. It was a chicken coop for some reason, but there was chickens there. So on the map, basically I set things up in this area here, right next to the motorway and up to the rock and campground. So I set that all up there. I think it was a number of different fields. I'm not too sure what was there to begin with. But yeah, so that's what I set up. So I spent a bit of time in Elm Creek as well, and just played around a bit with that. It was more just to see if I could build a vineyard that Courseplay could use, hence the huge gap there, so that the tractors and the sprayer could turn around. So I set everything up so that Courseplay could be used on the vines. So like I say, hence a huge gap between the fence and the vines. Had everything measured, and that worked quite well, because of course we had no guided steering, so if you were doing this yourself you'd have to keep a straight course, and I just kept running into the vines all the time. Oh wow, they're actually advertising VR and FS22 as well on the billboards. Look at that. So if you're still playing FS22, you're still going to find out about the VR. Wow. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the tour. I'll admit it's been a lot of fun for me. Possibly more fun for me than it has been for you. But I do appreciate you being on the stream. I hope you have enjoyed it. And I'll probably call it a night there. But thank you all for joining. Thank you all the ones who are on our horizontal stream. I see you there. Don't forget to hit the like button if you've enjoyed this. Those on the vertical stream too, I appreciate all the views on that. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We've got gameplays going in FS25, which run a bit stabler than FS22. We don't have to restart that one too often. But yeah, mod conflicts, of course, in this game. Running everything out of the big mod folder was a bit tricky. But I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed the stories that, you know, come sort of out of my head. And I hope that you can continue to enjoy the stories in FS25. Because what I'm endeavouring to do is, yeah, I've enjoyed the CLP and some of the ideas he comes up with, and yeah, I want to share those stories with people, so I've really enjoyed it. So please subscribe, and then you can get notifications and see more of them. We've got 2 maps going, one in Oakbridge Farm, Calmston, and another one in Frichstark, which is a Cheeky Badger, translated to Cheeky Badger. That's a German map. And we've got a couple of good storylines going there, so hope you've enjoyed it. Yep, see you, Rocket. Appreciate you being here. Hope you've enjoyed this. Nacho, if you're still here, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Thank you to everyone that has been watching. And until next time, have a good day, a good afternoon, or a good evening, wherever you are in the world. And until next time, bye.